I listened to my best friend when she told me to divorce my husband. Because he was too ugly for me, she was secretly sleeping with him, sabotaged my marriage, and I only realized the truth after I ruined my life and ended up completely alone. I've known Steven for 7 years. We weren't one of those sparkly couples people stare at in restaurants. He wasn't handsome in the way people pretend matters, but he was steady, kind, the type of man who made space for me without trying to overshadow me. He moved slowly through life, thought about things twice, didn't like drama, and never tried to be impressive. And I guess that was enough for me until Tiara started whispering in my ear. I've known Tiara longer than I've known Steven. She's been in my life since college, loud, magnetic, pretty. I trusted her advice more than I should have. She was always the expert on relationships. That woman has never been single longer than 2 weeks. She says it like a brag. It started small. Tiara would make little comments whenever Steven came up. Things like how I was settling or how I was outgrowing him. She'd joke about how I could level up if I wanted. None of it felt serious at first. That's just her way of talking. But when Steven started his new job last year, things shifted. He got busier, more stressed, more tired. He wasn't around as much, and instead of assuming he was overwhelmed, I started listening to Tiara. She'd tell me men get distant when they're hiding something. She'd say, ugly guys cheat harder because they think they'll never get another chance. I didn't believe her at first, but the more I felt Steven pulling away, the more her words stuck in my head. It's embarrassing to admit how easily I absorbed that. Then, she showed me a photo. Steven sitting at lunch with a woman I didn't recognize. Nothing romantic, but close enough that I felt sick. Then she showed me a screenshot she claimed was from someone who'd seen him flirting at work. I didn't verify any of it. I didn't even take a breath. I let her talk and I let myself believe everything she said. I confronted him immediately. He denied all of it in that calm, tired way he always had when he didn't understand why something was happening. He looked hurt more than anything. I had already decided. He moved out that night. After the separation, things got weird. His sister asked why Tiara had been hanging around his apartment before he moved out. A neighbor mentioned seeing Tiara near our building when I was at work. Even then, I didn't think anything of it. I trusted her more than I trusted my own partner. That alone should tell you how deep I was in whatever grip she had on me. Then, 2 weeks ago, I found something strange. I was sorting through old mail and came across a folded receipt for a storage unit rental under Tiara's name dated the exact week I filed for divorce. I didn't understand why it was in my drawer, how it got there, or what it meant. But that was the first time I felt something twist in my stomach. I brushed it off, but the feeling stayed. Part of me hates myself for even entertaining the possibility that she might have lied. But there's another part, the part sitting in this quiet, empty apartment that can't stop wondering if I let someone else's voice drown out my own. If I ended my marriage because my best friend wanted me to. I don't have answers yet. I don't know if the storage unit means anything. I don't know why she was near Steven's place. I don't know if she manipulated him the same way she manipulated me. I don't know how much of the evidence she showed me was real or fabricated. I just know something feels wrong, bad wrong, and for the first time since all this started, I'm finally willing to admit that the problem might not have been my husband, it might have been the person I trusted most. Update 1. After posting, I finally pulled myself together and went to check out that storage unit. I thought maybe it was something harmless. Maybe she helped someone move or dumped old furniture there. I honestly went there hoping I'd be embarrassed for even thinking something was off. But the unit was absolutely empty, just dust and a smell like it hadn't been opened in a while. The weird part was the manager telling me Tiara had come twice that week. The same week everything between me and Steven fell apart. The same week she practically shoved divorce brochures into my hands. That was the moment something in me just dropped. It felt like I was finally seeing a picture that had been in front of me for months, but I had been looking at it from the wrong angle. I called Steven's sister after that, mostly because she has no filter and would never sugarcoat anything to protect me. When she heard what I found, she didn't even sound surprised. She told me straight up that Tiara had been hovering around Steven for weeks before the split, that she'd warned Steven that I was planning to leave him as soon as I leveled up. Hearing that felt like being punched. I don't talk like that. I never have. But apparently Tiara did, and she used my name to do it. I spent almost an entire night going through my phone records after that. I didn't even know what I was looking for at first, just something that would make all this make sense. But then patterns started showing up that made me feel physically sick. Every single time Steven and I had a major argument, Tiara had either texted or called him right before, sometimes within minutes, sometimes right after, and then she'd text me, asking innocent questions like she just had a feeling something was wrong. It was so subtle that I didn't see it at the time, but looking at it all together felt like standing under fluorescent lights in a store dressing room. Everything ugly came into focus immediately. The part that twisted something in my stomach was seeing her name pop up during the night Steven stayed late at work. Not once or twice, constantly. And she had told me he was probably out building a secret life. Meanwhile, she was on the phone with him during those nights, and I was at home replaying her comments until they felt real. I tried to just casually bring up the storage unit to her the next morning. Nothing confrontational, just, "Hey, weird thing, your name was on a receipt I found." She instantly got defensive, almost too fast, like she had been waiting for this. Then she made it about how I was accusing her of stealing, and stormed out. She didn't even let me finish what I was going to say. That's when I knew I wasn't imagining things. The real push came when one of Steven's co-workers, who genuinely had no reason to lie to me, stopped me at the store that afternoon. He said he was sorry about the divorce, and mentioned that Steven had taken a week off work because he couldn't stop crying. The exact week Tiara told me he was probably with another woman. The week she said he had checked out of the marriage. The week she kept repeating that men like him always panic and go low when they're losing control. I can't even explain the feeling I had in that moment. It was like my brain was cracking open and everything I thought I knew was rearranging itself. Nothing fit. None of her warnings lined up with what people outside our bubble were saying. It felt like I had built every decision on top of sand she poured under my feet. By the time I got home, I was shaking. I kept pacing the living room, replaying every red flag I'd brushed off because she was my friend. The comments about how men like Steven were secretly resentful of pretty wives. The way she'd push me to fight with him, then act like she was just trying to protect me. The way she inserted herself into every insecure moment I had, and made the insecurities worse instead of helping me ground myself. I don't have the full truth yet, but I'm not imagining this. Something is deeply off, and if even half of what I found so far is connected, then I let someone with a completely different agenda push me into blowing up my own marriage. I'm scared of what comes next, but I'm done pretending she was just a supportive friend. Something else was going on, and I'm getting answers one way or another. Update 2. After Update 1, when I started noticing all those weird coincidences between Tiara's involvement and the worst moments of my marriage, I kept trying to convince myself I was being dramatic. I didn't want to jump straight into, "My best friend sabotaged my marriage," because that honestly felt like something out of a bad movie. But then I went to the storage facility Tiara had apparently rented during the exact week Steven moved out, and I asked to view the footage. I expected to see nothing, just her, maybe dropping off junk or storing clothes like a normal person. But the receptionist let me scroll through the hallway cameras, and suddenly, there it was. Plain as day, Tiara walking down that narrow hallway with Steven right next to her, not touching him, not laughing, not doing anything openly incriminating, but speaking to him in that very serious, clipped way she uses when she's trying to control a situation. He looked exhausted, like someone had wrung him out emotionally. It was the exact expression he had the week we separated. What broke me was realizing this was the day after I filed for divorce. The day after Steven told me he was staying at his brother's to clear his head. Instead, he was with Tiara, and neither of them told me a single thing. I didn't even think. I left the storage facility and went straight to Steven's place. He didn't answer, which I expected, so I left a long letter under his door explaining what I saw, what I found, and that I deserved the truth, every part of it. No sugarcoating, no protecting anyone. I didn't demand reconciliation or even an apology. I just wanted the truth laid out in a straight line for once. He emailed me that night asking if we could talk in person, not to fix things, not to try again, but to clear the fog, which honestly set the tone for how everything went. We met at a coffee shop we used to go to when we were first dating. It felt weird sitting across from him again after months of cold silence. He looked older, tired, like someone who had spent months apologizing to himself for something he wasn't sure he even did wrong. He told me Tiara had been in his ear for months long before our marriage got rocky. She told him I was drifting, that I was bored, that I was talking to someone at work. She showed him texts she claimed were from me. I never sent them. She told him I said he was holding me back. She framed it like she was protecting him from embarrassment, I didn't even know how to respond at first. Hearing that my own friend was also feeding him lies felt worse than what she told me. It meant she had been controlling both sides of the story, planting different versions of reality depending on who she was talking to. Steven admitted he broke down. He said he felt like his marriage was collapsing, and he had no idea how to stop it. Tiara comforted him. That was the word he used. He said it wasn't romantic. At first, she kept telling him I was leaving anyway, that he should accept it. And then one night, when he was drunk and in the middle of what sounded like a full meltdown, she kissed him. They slept together once. He made it clear he wasn't trying to justify it, just explained that he was emotionally wrecked and believed the lies she told. He said he regretted it immediately, that he blocked her number afterward, that he tried to tell me the truth the night he moved out, but Tiara said it would destroy me. He thought staying quiet was the better option. I don't know if I believe every part. I believe the emotional breakdown. I believe the manipulation. I believe the timing. But I also saw them walking into that storage unit together long after the cheating happened, so clearly they weren't completely done. I left that meeting feeling like someone had opened my chest and shaken everything inside until nothing made sense anymore. I wasn't crying. I wasn't angry. I just felt empty, like I finally got a glimpse of how deep this all went, and it was so much uglier than I expected. The worst part is the realization that all of this, every tear, every fight, every awful moment that ended my marriage was orchestrated by someone I trusted with nearly 20 years of my life. I'm not finished. I need the rest of the truth, and I'm done tiptoeing around it. Update 3. After confronting Steven and getting the first layer of the truth, I told myself I needed some distance, but distance didn't stop my brain. That's when I started looking through everything Tiara ever sent me that looked even slightly off. Old screenshots, random messages she forwarded, weird comments she made months ago that I brushed aside because I assumed she was being dramatic for attention. It didn't take long before things stopped making sense. I noticed a pattern in her messages that honestly made my stomach twist. She'd send me updates about Steven's behavior, or she'd hint at how he must be hiding something, and then I'd scroll up in my call logs and see she'd spoken to him a few minutes earlier. It wasn't casual either. Sometimes it was back-to-back calls, like she was bouncing between us to get the reaction she wanted. I didn't know what to do with that, so I kept digging. Then something even more bizarre came up. I was looking through a folder on my laptop where I save screenshots, mostly receipts, documents, boring stuff, and I found a set of Venmo notifications I didn't remember saving. 2 small payments from Tiara to a woman I didn't recognize. The notes on them were emojis, nothing suspicious on their own, but the timing lined up with one of the weeks she was heavily pushing the idea that Steven was being unfaithful. It didn't prove anything, but it made everything feel wrong. I ended up reaching out to an old mutual friend, someone Tiara stopped talking to out of nowhere about 2 years ago. I wasn't expecting much, maybe just clarification if that mystery woman was someone they knew. Instead, I got a whole different explanation that honestly changed the way I see everything. She told me this wasn't the first time Tiara had involved herself in someone else's relationship like this. Apparently, she had a pattern of inserting herself into couples' issues and stirring things up, usually under the disguise of being a good friend or just being honest. Nothing on this scale, but enough that she'd lost friendships over it. I didn't know any of this, and it stung because I defended her every time someone accused her of liking drama. It felt like finding a hole in the floor you've been standing on for years. But the worst part came out of nowhere. The owner of the storage facility called me back. He said something had been bothering him after reviewing the hallway footage for me, so he checked older logs. He found several entries where Tiara visited that unit weeks before the divorce and not with Steven. It was some man I didn't recognize. According to him, she brought boxes of clothes, men's clothes, clothes that weren't Steven's. So the whole storage thing? It wasn't about hiding an affair. It wasn't even connected to Steven at that time. She was hiding something else entirely. Another man, another secret. Another mess she probably didn't want anyone to know about. But she dragged my marriage into that spillover anyway. By the time I reached out to her, I wasn't even angry in the dramatic way you'd expect. It was more like a slow, steady disappointment that hits when you finally understand something you tried so hard not to see. I told her I knew about the storage visits, the payments, the calls with my mother, all of it. I didn't accuse her of anything. I just asked her why. She cracked almost immediately. Her explanation wasn't some deep confession or emotional breakdown. It wasn't even logical. She said she felt like I drifted after getting married, that she didn't like how stable I was, that she missed when I came to her for everything, and she hated that Steven was the person I relied on instead of her. She said she wanted to shake things up so I wouldn't forget about her. She insisted she never thought I'd actually go through with a full divorce and that she just wanted to wake me up. It was pathetic and cruel and small. I left without a fight. There was nothing left to say after hearing how little my life meant to her. I've blocked her everywhere. I told my family and the friends who shared space with her. Nobody knows what to do with the information, and honestly, I don't either. It's like she tore open this part of my life, looked inside, and slammed the door behind her without caring about the damage she caused. Right now, everything feels burned down, but at least the fire isn't being fed anymore. I'd rather sift through the ashes alone than spend another second letting her light matches near me. Final update. The divorce was finalized a few weeks ago. It was quick because we didn't fight over anything. There wasn't anything left to fight over. Everything between us had already burned down long before the paperwork arrived. It felt like signing the final page of a story I barely recognized anymore. Hard, but also strangely quiet. No dramatic argument, no begging, no big emotional scene. Just two people who lost the plot of their own lives because someone else was pulling strings we didn't even notice. He moved away shortly after. Another state, new job, new apartment. His sister told me he wanted a place where nothing reminded him of the last year. I can't even blame him. Every street here feels like a reminder of something I ruined because I let someone get too close to the center of my world without realizing how much damage she was capable of. I did reach out before he left. I didn't expect forgiveness or a miracle reconciliation, but I needed to say the things I should have said before everything collapsed. He accepted the apology, but kept it short. He said he understood I didn't act out of cruelty, and he didn't think I was crazy or malicious, just influenced by someone who knew exactly how to get to both of us. But he also said he couldn't rebuild something that fell apart in that particular way. Too much trust lost. Too many things that can't be undone or rewound. He was calm about it, not angry, just done. And I have to respect that. The fallout with the rest of my life has been a mixed bag. Half the friend group stepped back when everything blew up. Not because they supported what happened, but because the drama was too much and they didn't know where to place blame. Some drifted, some quietly disappeared, and I didn't chase anyone. I didn't have the energy to keep explaining myself or reliving the whole situation every time someone asked for the real story. I kept the people who stayed and let the rest go. The ones who did stay have been extremely protective in a way I didn't see coming. They've made it very clear that they don't want anything to do with Tiara again. She ended up losing a lot more than just me. 2 other friend groups cut her off completely after things came out. A couple of people she's known since college blocked her. Her mother tried to defend her for a while, but that stopped once more details surfaced. Nobody wanted to be around someone who could go so far just to feel important or to get control over someone else's life. And the funniest part, in the saddest possible way, is that she didn't even get anything out of all of this. She didn't end up with my ex. She didn't elevate her social life. She didn't win anything. She just wrecked years of relationships like she was knocking over furniture in a room she didn't even like being in. And then she moved. Not far, but far enough to avoid seeing any of us. She lasted maybe 3 months before trying the exact same behavior on another married woman she envied. That time, the husband's family got involved, and she ended up with a restraining order, so at least I know this wasn't something unique she did to me out of secret desire or obsession. It's just who she is and always was, and I didn't see it until it exploded in my face. As for me, I've kept things very simple. New apartment, new routines, a job that keeps me busy but not overwhelmed, a therapist who's been walking me through the parts of myself that ignored red flags because they came wrapped in history and nostalgia. I haven't dated. I'm not even thinking about dating. I'm just trying to get comfortable being a person again, instead of a reaction to whatever chaos someone else creates. It sounds dramatic to say I ended up alone, but honestly, it's been better than I expected. There's a kind of peace in not having to constantly manage someone else's feelings, or wonder if the ground is going to shift again without warning. I'm rebuilding quietly, at my own pace, without trying to restore anything that came from that old life.